non-verbal communication. We started with written communication. Now, verbal communication, where we have seen a lot of things, presentations in terms of PowerPoint, interviews, meetings, and all that. Now, let's look at non-verbal communication. Okay, remember we have quite a number of types of communication. We have verbal communication, which is sometimes called oral. We have non-verbal. We have written communication. We have visual communication. We have audio-visual communication, and we have audio. Some of them we have been handling here and there, but these are the main ones. Non-verbal communication is a communication through signs, symbols, body language, facial expressions, colors, gestures, for example, traffic signals, road signs, sign language. The moment you are not able, or you intend, or you purpose not to use your voice, not to use the sound, and just use anything in the environment called signs, symbols, even your body, facial expressions, colors, gestures. We see these everywhere, on the road signs, on the doors where we go to lavatory, male, female, and on the internet as people are advertising everywhere, colors. This, when you see multiple colors, rainbow colors, you know, that is a sign for gay people, the gay community, gay ideologies. Okay? You don't have to ask. You know, the moment there is what we call non-verbal, you are not using your mouth sound. That's what we call non-verbal communication. And I want to tell you, it is one of the most effective means of communication because it has a lasting impression on the person. It has more attachment to the person. Just imagine you're using colors and you're using a color that is so powerful to someone, or means a lot to someone. It means they will give you their full attention, first of all, because they have seen that color. As a father, I have learned, or I learned when my children were growing up, that just putting different types of food, especially for children who do not have a very good appetite, just putting food which has different colors on their plate can entice a child to eat even when they don't want to eat, because they're seeing nice colors. And perhaps that's why you see that these snacks, okay, they put cartoons there, they put some small, you know, small gifts inside, and children are attracted to buying those things. They package them in different bright colors because children like looking at colors. Psychologically, the colors work well with children because their children's attention span is very short. So when you have colors, a child is more attracted to colors than adults. Okay, types of nonverbal communication. We have kinetics, okay? We have proxemics, haptics, chronemics, paralanguage, appearance, artifacts, and environment. And we're going to be looking at each one of these. I want you to listen very carefully because this one is examining types of nonverbal communication. We will start with kinetics. What is kinetics in nonverbal communication language? Kinetics refers to body language, how you use your body to communicate to others. Okay, you use your hands. Some people use the middle finger. What does the middle finger mean? You may not want even to mention it here. But when you use the middle finger, it means something. I will ask Nantongo Edith to mute your microphone before I throw you out of this class. Nantongo Edith, mute your microphone. We are hearing what is happening in your privacy.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so kinetics refers to the body language, what we use using our body. Just think about anything that we use, waving to someone without even saying bye, but you just wave, and someone sees a hand and says, oh, he's saying bye-bye. So they also reply back. Killing one eye. We know of men who kill one eye if they want to send messages, sexual messages, or who it may also sometimes, it depends on the context, it may also be a sign of sexual harassment. Okay, the sitting posture, facial expressions. Okay, what you use your face to express something. When we are very sad, we will tilt our neck and sometimes also support our chin. So when you find someone very quiet, when you see someone who is sick, you sit on the face and we ask, are you sick? Head and neck signals. Okay, the way you tilt your neck and also the head. The Indians have a way of talking. When they are talking, they are shaking their head in different directions. Okay, they're shaking their head, and you know, an Indian is now emphasizing a point, or someone just nodding their head in the affirmative and saying no. We don't have to hear them say no. You just hear someone, see someone's head, you know, with the neck moving, you know, consistently from one side to the other side. When someone is saying yes, we see someone nodding their head from north to south, okay? Using your head and neck. Body posture, when you sit. There are people who sit at the edge of a seat. When someone sits and they cross leg, okay, it can speak something. You are comfortable, you are in a casual conversation, not a formal conversation. And sometimes it speaks to your audience that maybe you are from the American culture because they like cross-legging, okay? Body posture. Sometimes when we sit bending on one side of the chair, what does that mean? Or sometimes when we sit when our chests are out and we are almost like about to fly away, those are then gestures. There's what we call gestures. The gestures we use with our hands. You may also want to refer to the body language. I mean, the you know, nonverbal communication, or what we call language for the deaf. Okay. Then there's what you call oculesics. Oculesics is a subcategory of body language, and this is a study of the eye movement, eye behavior, gazing, and eye-related nonverbal communication. Right? You can look at someone who is sick and you see their eyes. You can look at someone who is in love and you see love written all over their eyes. You can see someone who is sad and they are crying. When you find someone with very red eyes and they are kind of watery or teary, then you know something is wrong. When you find someone, there are also times when people laugh and they enjoy so much. This has happened to when you go to comedy store and these theaters, you laugh and then your eyes become red and your eyes start tearing. You can even start tearing because you have overlaughed. So all these speak a lot. When someone opens their eyes so wide, you think they want to just jump on your neck the next moment. I remember moments when the president of Uganda sometimes gets very angry and he's annoyed and he's giving a very, you know, negative speech. He normally tilts his eye and squeezes them to a little size. Then, you know, President Museveni is what? He's not happy. All of us have seen that. So eyes are said to be the window to the soul. When we see the eyes, we're able to read a lot of things. We're able to get information about so many things. If you went to someone's home and then they came and they looked at you without even a word, they kept looking at you as you're coming instead of saying you're welcome. Someone just keeps looking at you and gazing. There's a difference between looking and gazing. Just looking at you, you definitely read a message that perhaps you are not welcome. Even before they tell you that we don't like you coming here. Someone looks at you as you're coming from a distance and they never say, you are welcome. Do they have to say that? Their eyes will tell that you are either welcome here or you are not welcome here. And if you're wise enough, you find your way out. Through eye contact, one can tell if the other party is paying attention to the speaker's words or not. So we can also use it to detect whether someone is with us or supporting us or not. So kinetics is all about your body, how you use your body to communicate without using necessarily words. That's what we call kinetics, and it involves body language, the entire body, facial expression, how you use your face, head and neck, how you use your head and neck, body posture, how you sit, how you stand, you know, how you position yourself, okay? Gestures, oculesics, that is the use of your eyes. So that's what we call kinetics as part of nonverbal communication. Then there's what we call proxemics. Proxemics, first introduced by Edward Hall in 1966, proxemics is the study of the measurable distance between people as they interact with one another. Hall also came up with 4 distinct zones. in which most men operate. Okay? And not necessarily men, but most people operate. So proxemics is how we use distance between us to communicate. Oftentimes, as you're communicating physically, leave alone this online communication, but physical interaction, it tells a lot about us. Number one, intimate distance for embracing, touching, or whispering. The people we love, we embrace them, we hug them, we kiss them, we peck them on the, we'll touch them. You'll find two people holding themselves and each other touching in the waist. If you are father and daughter, you'll find them standing. If you are finding a married person, but if you find also loved people, people who are loved ones, whispering, okay? You get so close to someone as you're whispering, therefore, zero distance. That's what we call intimate distance. And it's only for people who are intimate. It doesn't matter. This intimacy may be between a father and a daughter, husband and wife, but people who are close. You will always feel comfortable when someone gets so close to you. There are people who don't want to listen from a distance. They want to get so close to you, too close to you. And if you're not so acquainted with them, if you're not intimate with them, you start feeling uncomfortable because someone is getting close. So usually, intimate distance in terms of proxemics is for people who know each other well. Number two, personal distance for interaction among good friends or family members. Personal distance, you leave a little distance between you, you interact, you talk, you leave a distance between you. And that is usually for family members. Not very wide distance, but and then number three, social distance for interactions among acquaintances. Social distance. Hey, remember what we called the other day, acquaintance, people you keep a social distance. Like, for example, someone comes in my office here and then they sit. I left a distance between my table and the chairs for visitors. That's what we call a social distance. Okay? You keep enough distance so that you are able to hear and see each other clearly as you communicate. And then public distance used for public speaking. Okay? We leave a distance when we are speaking and the audience is even somewhere. So the podium is here, then you are given distance. I don't know whether President Museveni, who fears the COVID, is doing social distancing or public distancing. It seems like not any of it here because he stands so very far away from his audience because he has the ability to use the microphones. So this is the second type of nonverbal communication called proxemics. The power of using distance between or proximity, from the word proximity, distance as we communicate. It speaks a lot. When you see people who have zero distance and they are, hugging each other, they are caressing, they are doing whatever they're doing in public, you either get shy, you start questioning, and that is non-verbal communication. So all of us say, is this a father and, is this a husband and wife? Okay? Personal distance, you leave yourself distance. Public, that one is a speaker even before perhaps they speak. The other type is what we call haptics or touch. Non-verbal communication also has another element called the touch. We communicate through touching, especially our hands, shaking hands. Do you shake hands with strangers, the people you don't know? It's a common way of greeting and interacting with other people, especially people that human beings are not harmful. So when we see people shaking hands, we know maybe they know each other, or maybe they're trying to know each other, or they have met before, some shaking hands, acquaintances. Holding hands, okay? The first one is a handshake, but this one is holding hands. When you find two men holding hands and walking on a street, do you have to ask that perhaps those are gay people? If you find a father or a man, an old man, holding a hand with a little child, do you have to ask that is a father and son? Do you want to tell me that you don't know when a man and woman are holding hands and walking on the street and they are walking so casually and so comfortable and, with an I don't care attitude? You have to ask those are lovers or those they may be husband and wife. Backslapping, someone comes and says, oh, someone slaps you on the back. You cannot do that to a person you don't know. That's very common with Americans. They don't care whether you're a president or prime minister. When the president of the US comes to greet you, pat you on the back by slapping. It's a sign of acquaintance. It's a sign of you are welcome. It's a sign that you are brotherhoodness or collegiality. You're my colleague. You see president to president shaking hands, hugging each other, backslapping or patting on the back. That's a sign that those people are friends, that is something that brings them together. High fives, when we give high five, when you see someone giving high five, that person is a friend, will be a friend to someone. You cannot just go and start making high five with a VC of this university, and you must be an acquaintance, you must be a colleague, you must be at the same level, you must be very well known and acquaintance to that person. Otherwise, it's a sign of excitement, it's a sign of happiness, and maybe a sign of greeting. High five, brushing up someone, okay? Brushing up someone, which means, trying to use different styles of your hands to greet. There are people who just greet. It's not necessarily high five, but they tap their two hands together, maybe in the air or not in the air. That's what we call brushing. And all this is what we call haptics or touching. Very important. The third one is what we call chronemics. Chronemics is to deal with time, punctuality, willingness to wait. There's what we call waiting and patiently waiting. Okay, punctuality. You have gone for an interview, supposed to be at 9 a.m. in the morning, and for you arrive at 5 a.m. in the morning. Honestly, you don't have to ask that you are either idle or you are too desperate. And perhaps you're not even organized. You are one kind of a person who thinks because you're disorganized, you want to come very, very, very early. But perhaps if we give you a job, you are not someone who manages time. So it speaks volumes when we're either punctual or, over punctual or under punctual. So then there are those, they tell you the interview is at 9 and then someone arrives at 9:45. Panic. We don't have to ask that you are an unserious person. So punctuality also speaks, it's a non-verbal communication. You are going for a date and you make a woman wait for 3 hours. You make a woman wait for 3 hours. Women hate such things. On your first date, it doesn't matter even if it's a first date. There are those who are perpetually late comers. For me, Munange, my weakness is coming late. Who do you think doesn't have time to be there and wait for you? So punctuality, for those of you who are looking for people to marry, find someone who is not punctual, don't even waste your time. They're just going to embarrass you on your wedding day, because those are people who come late in church. We have seen them, and the moment the couple comes late, any of them, that is the end of that wedding. Disorganized, no one will smile. I've seen people who even cry. They think the man has run away. Kumbe, the man has been in a salon, I think, working on his beard, and that's stupidity. So punctuality is very important, okay? Delivering reports late. Your boss doesn't have to know that you're not serious. Next, willingness to wait. There are people who are willing to wait, but they are restless. Someone waits, he doesn't keep in that chair, he changes positions in the chair, he stands up, he goes on the phone, he calls, he asks them, is he coming? What time? How many minutes are remaining? But a person who waits patiently will sit in one place and maybe perhaps engage themselves with something. They sit, they are composed, they are calm, and they will wait. There's a difference between waiting and waiting patiently. That is willingness to wait. And then interactions, okay? How do you interact? This can affect lifestyles, daily agendas, speed of speech, movements, and how long people are willing to listen. Okay? If you're the kind of a person who shows that every time you talk to other people, you don't have time, then they say you are not one person who can be a good employer. Everyone will say, I don't want that one to be my boss, without you even saying anything, because it's a non-verbal communication. Okay? Interviews. People fail interviews because of time. So managing time is also part of phonemics. The fifth one is appearance. Okay? You don't have to tell people who you are. No, you don't have to do that. That way you appear in public, they will either say you are a muyaye, you are not serious, you are a mufere, you are, a hard nut to crack, you are a hard person to get. Our appearance in public tells a lot about us. Personal appearance refers to the way the audiences with their expectations of appropriateness see and evaluate the way you look, clothing, grooming, and makeups. Now, the ladies, when it comes to ladies, appearance is very, very, very sensitive. Okay? So we need to be very careful the way we appear. Number one, your hairstyle. All of you are excited about what Semakade, the new Uganda Law Society president, is going to be doing, because he has Rastafaric hair. When he removed it, now he has some funny hair. People are not taking him serious until when Semakade speaks. That's when you know this guy is not, he's well-rounded. He's widely knowledgeable in the field of law. And people take him serious. But on the onset, when he appears like this, you cannot believe that he's a very serious lawyer because of his hairstyle. In the same way, many women enjoy putting different hairstyles in their head. But you know that every hairstyle you put in, you always giving out a message of who you are. Okay? When I see young men, having dreadlocks or, this, tied hair of theirs, like looking like women, puff, some of them have puffs, hair puffs. I fear such people. Honestly speaking, I do not take such people serious. And so when it comes to academics, I don't think you are the kind of person that I should be having a conversation over, an intellectual conversation. But if I'm coming to ask you where Afrigo band is going to be playing tonight, or maybe a live band somewhere, or a DJ, or bouncer, that is okay with me. Because that is where my imagination takes me. When you appear, even before you say anything, I say, that guy must be a DJ, or boda boda. Boda boda is like, plaiting their hair like women. You find a man who has plaited hair with a puff. Body cleanliness. When we sit around people, okay, you don't need to ask whether that person is serious or not. Some people don't know how to brush their teeth, their tongue, and what comes of your mouth becomes very uncomfortable to people. So they don't need to know who you are. Okay? Some other people have body odors from the armpits, kabonimunkwawa, and then kabonimugere. Some people don't want to wash socks. They put on socks for a whole month. And when they remove, and such people like removing their shoes in public. It is very hot. Let me relax my foot. And the entire room becomes chitezi. So body cleanliness is very important. If you don't want to clean your body, you are sending a message out there that you are disorganized. You're not a person who has hygiene and a person who is hospitable, and the people would want to be around you. Clean nails. When I was growing up as a young man, looking for love, searching for love, I found one lady, very beautiful lady, very beautiful young woman. And I wanted to start talking to her. So as we started talking, I think we were talking over ice cream somewhere seated. I saw her dirty nails. She had dirty nails from hell. The nails were long, transparent, and you could see dirt inside the nails. I got disgusted. I got disgusted. I started imagining what the other parts of our body were looking like. So this is a reflection, and I can assure you that was the last date, the first and last. Up to now, I still remember her, but we never met again on a date. We just met as friends. That was the end of it. Because dirty nails, shiny shoes, fashions repeat, evolutions come and go, seasons come and go. The season is for shiny shoes. But when do you put on shiny shoes? Should you put on shiny shoes when you're going for an interview? Shiny shoes speaks something. All of us, when we see shiny shoes, we know someone maybe is going for a function or maybe he's going for a party. But you don't put on shiny shoes and like me, and then you come to a lecture to have a lecture with students to come to office. Okay, so we should know. I cannot put on open shoes on a Monday and come to office. Right? So the shoes also tell a lot our appearance. Tattoos. If you see someone with a tattoo, okay, what comes to your mind? I don't want to make judgment here, I would say, but just imagine all of you are listening to me. When you see someone with a tattoo, in the back, the people put tattoos on their buttocks. People put tattoos everywhere. And you young people here, you know, where these tattoos appear, they speak volumes. If you have a tattoo on your hand, and you've gone to maybe look for a job, people may not take you serious. People may start questioning, why do you have a tattoo? Being appropriately dressed, appearance, very important. Grooming our hair and appropriately dressed. Now here, it's a challenge because oftentimes we talk of decency. Decency is relative. What is decent to one society, one person, may be decent, indecent to another person. But generally, we have what we call general standards. That when a woman puts on a dress or puts on a skirt, it should be at least below the knee. That is not short. But today, decency may have us stay here for a whole day when we're talking about conversation. Because today, women deliberately put on very short things, and even inside they put in bikers. What does a biker mean? That I'm putting on a very short thing, but honestly, you ask yourself, why are you putting on that short? And then again, you put in a biker. I thought short things is to expose part of your body. So you fail to know what is decent today, what is appropriate, what are the aims. But all of us just follow. If you see someone putting on a very short dress and a biker inside, you also wake up one day and buy a dress and put in a biker. When you ask someone, why are you doing it? I don't know. This is the fashion. This is trending. Bandwagon. Africa, we just copy. We don't even know where it is coming from. Fashion speak in the spiritual realm and other things. People innovate fashions, invent fashions. Some of them are even demonic. But for us, we just follow here in Africa. I remember the sluggish trousers. Up to now, those people still put on sluggish trousers. Balance. It is old fashioned, but when it was trending, you'd see young people's buttocks outside because they want to look, and you ask someone, why are you doing that? Someone says, this is a fashion. But do you know the meaning of that fashion? Do you know where it's coming from? Okay? So we really need to think about when do you dress appropriately, especially in formal ways, because our dress code speaks a lot. The sixth one is paralanguage. This refers to the quality and the art of using the voice as a means of communication. It includes the following: loudness. That's what we call paralanguage. When you are too loud and shouting on top of your voice, people will say, what the hell is this? Is this guy mad? He could be angry, or maybe you're about to fight because you are loud. Loud is just getting on top of your voice. Then inflection is when you speak with a lot of care to deliver your information. That's what we call inflection. Pitch. Pitch is how high or low of your voice. That is what we call the pitch. There are people who have very sharp voices. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, And when we see a man speaking like that, everyone will get mesmerized and say, he speaks like a woman. When we get women who have very deep voices, like me, then we say, she speaks like a man. So what we are complaining about is the pitch, and it really speaks volumes. When someone has risen their pitch up there, you know they want to emphasize a point, or they are angry or upset. Then the tone of the voice, your tone speaks volumes. Tone is the energy and how it comes out. If your tone is soft and you're the kind of a person who talks, ladies and gentlemen, I am here, and one of the reasons why I'm here, that tone is a polite tone, persuasive, and we use these different tones in different circumstances to different people. If you find two people, one man trying to convince a woman, the tone will be very polite. But if you find the two of them planning to divorce, you can't even imagine the tone you had when they were meeting each other. The tone will be very different. The tone will be very rough because it is time to separate. The people forget that there is time for loving, unloving, and reloving. We go through those processes almost on a daily basis. As there is someone beginning love, there is someone elsewhere stopping love, running away, jumping out of that wagon called love. So it's a matter of loving, unloving, reloving. It's a cycle. All of us want to be loved. Intonation is the way you use your voice to speak. Okay? Intonation is fluctuation, getting up, down, like that. The seventh is artifacts. Artifacts as a part of nonverbal communication are forms of decorative ornamentation that are chosen to represent self-concept. Okay? You as a person, you're a concept. How do you deliver? How do you expose yourself to the people who are listening to you, or how do you use the artifacts to communicate? These include rings, tattoos on our bodies, but may also include brand names and logos, from clothes to cars, Gucci, watches, okay? Briefcases, purses, eyeglasses or sunglasses, so many things. And when we put on, and sometimes even perfumes. When you wear a perfume and people hear the perfume and say, that guy is not easy. Why? That perfume is very expensive. So people start attaching you to being a rich person. They have not even talked to you or even looked at your bank account. But from, okay, when we see people putting on very expensive rings, okay, you see gold, pure gold, you say, that man is rich. Okay? When you see someone's body all over the body with tattoos, either think they are footballers or wrestlers, or people who work on the streets, or just mad people, crazy people. So all these artifacts, branded names, okay? Maybe someone is putting on a cap with the best golfer, Tiger Woods, and putting on shoes, same bag, and you have, branded yourself in terms of logos and brand names. You don't have to tell people those are non-verbal communication that maybe place you in a certain class of people. Or when people find you putting on trousers that are torn and they have holes, then you don't have to tell people that you are living below the poverty line in Uganda. These may project gender, role or position, class or status, personality or group membership or affiliation. I said, if you find someone putting on green with Rastafaric hair, which is very long, you don't have to ask that they are Rastafarians. If you find someone putting on a dress that has rainbow colors, that's a sign that they belong to the gay community. Okay? And the last one is environment. Environment involves the physical and psychological aspects of the communication context. We don't have to say anything. What is in environment and psychologically, how are we made up? For example, Google is famous for its work environment, with spaces created for physical activity and even in-house food service around the clock. So within their work environment, you can identify that this is the Google workplace without even seeing any sign, because for them, they have gym in the same place, they have cafeteria in the same place. You know, people and their intention is to send a message out there that for them as employers, they have keen interest in making sure that their employees are distinct in terms of health and in terms of what they do. That is branding a company with its unique practices, what we call HR practices. The results produced in the environment designed to facilitate creativity, interaction, and collaboration are worth the effort. Okay? When you walk through the spaces of places like Bank of Uganda, spaces like companies in town, you know that, you know, there are companies where you go, the moment you step in here, the company, there is a sign there that this is our Wi-Fi password. The environment, you can use, you know, internet as you want. Maybe someone wants to create a workspace that is like that. Their employees are allowed to use, or their employees are given certain phones like iPhones and what to use. You know, that's what we call the environment. And those are the 7 types, 8 types of nonverbal communication. First one, kinetics, the body; proxemics, the proximity; haptics, the eyes; chronemics, paralanguage, appearance, artifacts, and environment. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of my presentation in terms of communication skills. Questions that may come around this may include types of nonverbal communication, pros and cons of nonverbal communication, challenges of nonverbal communication, strategies to overcome nonverbal communication. The other ones like oral, audio, audiovisual, we have covered along the way. But these are the most widely used in the workplace. But we have been covering audio and visual along the way as we have been looking at this. So I want to say I have done my part. I have delivered you to the promised land, the land that flows with honey and sugar. And so it is now your turn as students to play your role, because this one of the approaches was role playing. So next Sunday, we are going to start class presentations, and we are going to follow the order of groups and the chronology of the questions. I repeat, we are going to follow the order of groups, group number 1, 2, 3, up to the end, and the chronology of the topics or questions. Question 1 for group 1, question 2 for group 2, like that. I want to remind you that if you're not available, you will not get marks. Each member will have a few minutes to make their own presentation. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's automatic you're in the same group, you'll get the same marks. No. You must prepare yourself so well before the presentation. You must have good internet. You must have a laptop. I repeat, you must have a laptop. I am not going to allow people who use phones. So if it is your turn, please make sure you have a phone. You must learn how to use Zoom. If you don't know, please arrange with me, and I see how I can support you to share your screen so that we don't waste time. I am going to be very strict. I am going to be very strict when it comes to presentations, because this is where we waste a lot of time, yet we don't have time. I want us to use the whole of October to make these presentations so that you have a few weeks before you start your exams for your class group discussions and, you know, private reading. So it's been a pleasure to be here and to talk the approach I normally use for first years is that I do teaching, so that when it comes to presentations, it's easier for you. These questions were picked from the entire course unit. And then when even the audience itself, when you're listening, you can easily hear someone is making a mistake because the lecturer already took us through these things. So ladies and gentlemen, please prepare yourselves so well. I don't want excuses. I don't want excuses. So if you're planning to have an excuse that you lost a loved one and what, you better cancel it now. You better look for another alternative, because I will make life very hard for any person who does not present. And I wouldn't have to do that, because all of us are here to pass, but most importantly, to gain knowledge. Practical part of this course unit is what we are beginning next week, and I want to see everyone. Doesn't matter whether you're online. I said before you start presenting, you must have a PowerPoint that you extracted from the work that you submitted. What you're presenting today must be the summary of your Word document, because that is what I'm going to be following. As you're presenting, I'm going to be assessing you following your Word document. So every group must have a PowerPoint, and I know everyone is seeing what is on the screen. This is a typical PowerPoint. Please don't write sentences. Don't write paragraphs. Summarize, and then you explain, because each one of you will be given 3 minutes. Each one of you in each group, 3 minutes. And we are starting on a very serious note. Next week, we are starting with 5 groups. Each group will be given 15 minutes. 15 minutes. And each person must present. So that is how serious things are. Please build your confidence. What we are going to be doing is not because we all know it, but it's going to be out of practice and practically putting communication skills in practice. Thank you very much. So let me invite 3 questions, and today it will be strictly 3 questions. So the first question is from
David, Mr. Chitata.
Yes, David, go ahead.
First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the time you've given us to teach us this course unit. My question, I would like to take you back in relation to letter writing. There are instances, mostly, can I refer to pastors or reverends? When they are finishing letter writing, in most cases, they say yours in service or yours in ministry. Is it commendable to use that whatever when that closing remarks? Thank you so much.
It is absolutely okay to use, like we said, every institution, every organization chooses their style of communication that is accustomed. And when you see it, you say, that letter is coming from this place. So Church of Uganda, or the religious community in Uganda, there is a way they communicate, and all of us know that. And it is an official way of communicating. Yours is in Christ, okay? Yours in Christ's service, yours in his service. So it all depends on the kind of communication that has been chosen, the style that has been chosen, and the format that has been chosen. They can be said, even the letter writing, the format can be adopted. There are people who are using indented. That is their format. So when it comes to choosing, as institutions, we can choose what we want to use as a style of communication, and which is distinct and identifies us as a particular community. So that is okay, and there's nothing wrong in that. Justin Kemigisha. Kemigisha, Justin, your hand is up.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, I'm talking. Thank you so much. I'm asking about, are we going to present what we are given in the group presentations? Thank you.
Exactly. You have answered yourself. Gave out questions, Those were supposed to be researched, thoroughly researched, summarize in PowerPoint, and then you make your presentation. That is what you're going to present. And that's what we're going to follow. We had a list of questions in their order, and that's what we're going to follow in the order of the groups. So next week, I expect groups 1 to 5 to be ready. Presenting question 1 to 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Bernard, a call.
Thank you so much, Dr. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, but you have issues. You have issues with the internet.
Almost. Oh, sorry. I think here is better.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Doctor, my question is, in line with the PowerPoint presentation, like we are going to do this time around, there are some literature that guides that for you to be coherent, consistent with the bullet that you are going to explain, and due to the fact that those bullets that you're putting in your slides, you've extracted them from your script, that in this case, would it be wrong to ensure coherency that you read from your script, well aware that the points that you have put in the PowerPoint bullets are the ones you have highlighted in the script you are going to read? There are forms of presentation where I see they read from the script so that they are able to achieve the coherence I'm talking about. Because if you ask that I get a bullet and explain offhand, yes, I will give it the best understanding I have about it. But chances are there that you may deviate from, you may leave out one or two critical words that may give better meaning to the bullet you have put on your slide.
Thank you, Bernard. But Bernard, to be sincere, let me tell you, and it is a universal practice. It is not good to read from either your script or even reading from the slides. Okay, this is normal presentations, but for us in academics, even when you're defending, you'll not be allowed to read from your it's generally and universally not acceptable. It shows that you're weak. You are not independent enough. You have not made your homework. You're not prepared. Reading from what you're showing on the what? On the screen. You read word by word. Now, reading from your script may not have a problem, but honestly speaking, where will the time come from? Because the purpose of summarizing in your PowerPoint slide is to fit within the time that you've been allocated and yet also deliver the information that you want to deliver. That's how you can achieve coherence, emphasis, and unity in what you're presenting. So that is why we encourage rehearsing, practicing. You don't have, honestly, what we're talking about here is to understand the concept that you are presenting, and then you put it in your own context. That's the best way of presenting. Why do you have to read word by word? Where will the time come from? Like, for example, now I've said each one of you will have 3 minutes, and perhaps you have maybe 2 pages of your script. Are you going to read word by word? So I totally disagree with that. It's not internationally allowed and acceptable. Read something, understand it. Maybe you can pick a few things as you're reading, so as you're presenting, but don't read word by word. Reading from the script is not acceptable. It is not professional. It is not allowed.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. So let's just understand your presentation, however small it is, practice through it, put it in your own context, get a few examples, and people will understand. Use simple language and present. Okay, one more question. If we have another question before we end. Okay, if you don't have a question, members, please prepare. I want us to really go through this next phase of this course unit in a very peacefully. I kind of get mad when I have students who are not serious. I will not entertain unseriousness here in the next phase of our presentations, in the next phase of our course unit. Let's be serious. Let's take this serious because it's going to be part of your assessment. The test was out of 20, and this entire exercise is going to be out of 20. You, the way you have groomed yourself, you have looked, and then 10, that is 10. Then the other 10 is your presentation, each one of you. And how I love everyone to get good marks here, but you must work for the marks. We must put in practice what we have learned. Brenda, Nabudua, your microphone is unmuted. I don't know if you want to say something. Nabudua, Brenda, you are interrupting the class.
Yeah.
You want to say something? Okay, let me leave you, Nabudua, maybe to make a submission here. Otherwise, I want to wish you the best. Starting next week, we shall be starting at exactly 2 p.m. And we're going to be really managing time because we are so many and each one of us has to be assessed. And I can assure you, each one of us will be assessed. So thank you very much. I wish you a very fruitful week ahead of you. And please remember, let your hearts never be troubled, for God is in charge of your life, of my life, and perhaps your family's life. God bless you.
Amen.
Bless you too, Doctor.
Prayer. No. Lecture. Lecture.